Right now, you can earn over $190,000 a year in an administrative government job. This is pretty odd because the average administrative job in the country only pays around $57,000 a year. People don't usually equate an administrative job with a high salary. For high salaries, what are you thinking? Finance, tech, cybersecurity. You're thinking about jobs like that. I'm going to show you six-figure jobs in admin in the federal government. The first position is an administrative and management specialist with the Department of Energy. The salary tops out at $191,000 a year. This job, it's open to the public. That means you can apply, your cousin can apply, your cousin's friend can apply, we can all apply. As long as you're a U.S. citizen, you can apply to this job announcement. Not only that, but this is under the direct hire authority and it's public notice. Direct hire means you don't have to worry about competitive rankings. You don't have to worry about veterans' preference. Public notice means this is a position that's open for 6 months. Throughout that time period, they will select multiple times. So you apply one time and you're considered multiple times. It's a great thing. Not just for one location, this is for 7 locations. You can check this by scrolling down and looking at the location section in the job announcement on USAJobs.gov. So what are the exact requirements for a job like this? Well, this is actually a promotion ladder position. So on the high end, you would need experience preparing communications, developing and implementing tools to prepare reports on risk, and providing oversight to program areas to make sure goals are met. Can you use a college degree to qualify? No. Would it help if you had a college degree? Probably not. Do you need a certification? No. You just need the relevant experience. Next, we have an executive advisor with the Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security. The salary for this position is between $163,000 and $191,000 a year. This is in the 0301 job series, and it's an administrative job. Here is the exact experience that you need: working with leadership, conducting studies and evaluating program goals, implementing HR strategies. This job is open to current government employees, it's open to veterans, and it's open to Schedule A letter holders. Schedule A means a disability. Some people get disabilities for anxiety. Some people get disabilities because of eyesight. There are a lot of different reasons. If you feel like you have a potential disability, you should schedule an appointment with your medical provider and bring a Schedule A letter to see if they would sign it. The exact experience you need for this job, it could have been gained anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's volunteer, if it's experience in the military, as long as it's relevant, you could be found eligible and you can qualify for a position like this. Next, we have a supervisory management analyst. This is with the Peace Corps, and it's on the FP pay band with a salary between $132,000 and $191,000 a year. The FP pay band stands for Foreign Personnel Pay Scale. When most people think of government jobs, they think of GS pay band, and that makes sense because over 70% of federal employees are on the GS band. But you shouldn't just look at one pay band, look at all the opportunities. Why limit yourself, right? This particular job announcement, it mentions accepted service. This is something you want to pay attention to. There's nothing wrong with this. However, when you get a competitive service job, you have a way to become a competitive status candidate, meaning that you gain tenure after 3 years. In the accepted service, it's not like that. And many people, after 15, 20 years working for the government in the accepted service, they try to apply to other jobs. They find out they can't apply in the competitive service because they don't have the tenure. So keep that in mind. The requirements for this job include experience reviewing work papers, skill in qualitative and quantitative research, experience providing mentorship and resolving conflicts. There's also a note here that says, additional hiring may be filled through this vacancy. This means that you apply to this job, maybe you don't get it, but maybe you get an interview for another job you didn't even apply to. When you're doing the questionnaire, there's usually a block in there that says, is it okay if we share your resume? Are you willing to be considered for other positions? You want to click that box because that means they'll share it. This is a new initiative that the government's been leaning more into, sharing certificates. That way they can hire people quicker. And here's another thing about the Peace Corps. If you ever wanted to work at the Peace Corps, this is interesting information. If you've ever worked in the CIA, you can never work for the Peace Corps. And if you worked for an intelligence community agency, then there's a time period. It's something like 10 years that you have to wait before you go into the Peace Corps. So I've talked to a couple of people in the CIA. None of them had ambitions of coming into the Peace Corps. In fact, most people that I talked to, They're not really interested in the Peace Corps, but if you're interested, then you should know. Next, we have a miscellaneous administrative programs position with the Department of Army coming in with a salary of up to $181,000 a year. This depends on the exact location. There's multiple positions throughout 10 different locations. This job is in the competitive service, and if you scroll down to the specialized experience section, you're going to find there's nothing there. There's just a link, and if you click it, it goes to the OMB website, and it shows you the requirements for the 0301 series. And interestingly enough, it says there are no requirements. This is not true. Let's open up the old OPM Job Series Handbook from 2018, and we can see there are plenty of requirements, so you want your resume to speak to this area. As you just saw, the experience needed for most of these jobs is administrative experience. You might have some of this experience. There was only one position that was a leadership position where you needed supervisor experience. The other three, you didn't need any type of supervisory experience. You just need the experience of doing the thing. And most of them were open to the public. So what's the strategy here? I'm going to tell you the strategy. If you have a deep level of admin experience, you need to start building and strengthening your resume. Go to the OPM Job Series Handbook, the one I just showed you, the 2018 edition, and start matching it up to find out which GS grade you could be competitive for. A lot of people, they downplay their experience and they settle for a lower GS grade than they actually should be settling for. Not everyone has the right experience though, so for the people that do not have the right experience, or maybe they have lower level experience, just look lower on the GS grade scale. Look at GS9, GS11. Does that fit? And it's also going to depend on your location. Find a good fit and start a targeted job search and applying campaign where you're applying consistently throughout a large duration of time, and that's going to get you the best results. Many people feel that GS14, GS15, that's out of reach for them. And depending on your location, that could be very well true. There are some rural locations where the top grade is like GS12 or GS13, and that's pretty much it. But if you're in a major city, it is realistic. People come out of the private sector, people come out of the military almost on a weekly basis, and they come into a GS14 and sometimes even a GS15 position. But the question you really want to ask yourself is, do I want to live in Washington, D.C.? Do I want to live in some of the big cities in California, Chicago, New York? If you don't want to make that type of sacrifice, if you consider it a sacrifice, if you don't want to move and live in a major metropolitan area, then okay, you're going to have to set your sights a little bit lower on the GS pay scale. If you are interested in a federal government job, you should know the exact hiring process from the beginning to the end, from when you apply, when you get referred, when you get interviewed, your tentative job offer, the whole process. It could be a little bit confusing, but if you want to know more about it, if you want me to clear it up for you, then I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.